All right, good quality at a good price. As average consumers, that's what we're all looking for in the products that we're buying. And when it comes to leather boots, in fact, leather goods of any kind, it's hard to find that match. You either have low-grade materials and build, or you have extremely high prices that are out of the reach of most of us average consumers. But not with this company. Beginning in 2014, Thursday Boots' mission was to introduce versatile boot styles at honest prices to the market at large. After being fed up with the market gap for good quality and well-made boots, they decided to start a company of their own to fill this gap. As mentioned before, too often they were running into either low quality, low grade boots that just didn't last the life cycle that they needed to, or they were running into extremely high prices that ultimately everybody can afford. This ultimately sparked the idea for them to partner with factories fairly near to the US as well as overseas who have a history of making quality footwear and developing a business relationship with them, starting the brand that we now know as Thursday Boots. Now, while this company has started 10 years ago, this year exactly, I really feel like more recently they have grown into their own in a sense. What ultimately started as a brand looking to fill that market gap of well-made boots at a fair price, slashing the traditional markups that we see in other brands, they've grown more recently into offering a wide variety of products. Now, this is a sort of traditional way to build a brand, right? You look at who your ideal consumer is, and you build out what other things you think that they would like. What other items this customer is gonna buy and that they would be interested in. Beyond just boots, which they started their journey with, they've grown into a lot of different categories that I think are very interesting and ultimately are a smart play for them to build out their brand, ultimately centering around this image of who their consumer is. And real quick, if you haven't subscribed yet, you know what I'm saying? So first, they started with boots, introducing a very standard 8-eye boot style called the President. They then, of course, expanded into different boot silhouettes like wingtips, bulkier silhouettes such as the Hero, which to me feels sort of similar to a Doc Marten silhouette with the taller stature and the thicker sole, and the Diplomat, which is sort of reminiscent to Red Wing's classic mock toe boot. Now, the pair that I own is I do own a pair, and I actually made a full video on that before, if you want to go in the link below and check that video out. The CAVALIERs, which is a Chelsea boot that falls into a little bit more of a dressier category. Now, they do offer a couple different styles in this more dressier category that ultimately actually fall outside of boot. Well, sort of. They offer a Chukka style boot, which is a pretty standard sort of dressier silhouette that can also be seen as a little bit more casual. And more recently, they've released a monk strap, actually. I just made a video about my monk straps from Meerman. I don't own these monk straps, but they look fairly well made, and based off of the CAVALIERs, I assume that they are. The only issue that I had with my CAVALIER boots, and you'll see that if you check the video out in the link in the description below, is the soles. I go into that a little bit and what I did to ultimately mitigate that issue, to solve to that, and what you should do if you plan on purchasing from Thursday Boots. On top of that, they offer pretty much all of their boot silhouettes with what they call a Storm King sole, which is pretty much just a lug sole built out for sort of more heavy duty use, I guess you could say. I'm not going to dive into all the boot styles that they offer because they do offer more. If you want to learn more about that, check them out in the link in the description below. Ultimately, what I find interesting is, as I mentioned before, what categories they have ultimately expanded into over the last 10 or so years. Now, when you think of the type of consumer that buys into a good pair of leather shoes, what else comes to mind for this type of consumer? How about a leather jacket? Like most leather brands, they sort of fall into other leather products like leather jackets. They answer this with a few different leather jacket styles, two of which I actually really like, have had on my list for a while, and would love to eventually own. The racer jacket in tobacco and the flight jacket in black. Two very beautiful classic silhouettes. What else? What else? Maybe you think of denim. They answered to the denim question by offering denim jackets in a few different washes, as well as actually raw denim jeans that you can pair perfectly with any of your new Thursday boots that you buy. And they finish off the entire look with accessories. Things ranging from leather belts in a couple different colors to bags to even a couple different hat styles, which is just, it's super interesting. Now, as I mentioned before a couple times in this video, I love how they think of what their consumer would want based off of the idea of who buys leather boots like the things that they offer, and they build out their product offering with that in mind. And honestly, I think they've done a very good job at this, nailing all those different parts of what their consumers would want and building the full outfit and the full look. They even offer some flannel shirts and a few different other jacket styles that you can check out in the link in the description below if you haven't already browsed their website and looked at what they offer. As I mentioned before, I do own a pair of Thursday boots, and I highly suggest that if you're thinking about purchasing something from them, a pair of boots especially, go and check that video out in the link in the description below, and it's gonna give you a good pointer as to what you can expect and some of the things that you might wanna think about doing before pulling the trigger on a pair of boots from Thursday. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel, dropping a like, and leaving a comment. What is it that you enjoyed about them? Do you own anything from Thursday Boots? Have you heard of them before? I would love to hear your thoughts. For now, that's all I got for y'all. I'll see y'all again soon. Peace.